A longtime charity that gives pet food to the needy faces questions tonight about how much it really helps the community.
Yeah, the Lawrenceville group is called Daffy's Pet Soup Kitchen. Now, Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis says it's hard to track the charity's effort because that group hasn't filed a tax return in years.
Yes, and they're going on 3 years now. Daffy's could lose its tax-exempt status. Just as bad, former insiders complained to the IRS the public is not being told the truth.
We had to start doing things to raise more funding.
Tom Wargo wants you to know he's not a bad guy, just a bad businessman.
I can guarantee you there's nothing wrong going on here. It's just ignorance on my end.
Wargo started Daffy's Pet Soup Kitchen in Lawrenceville 20 years ago. The former construction worker says he wanted to offer disadvantaged pet owners a way to get free food for their dogs and cats and help other charities with donated pet supplies.
People get to keep their animals because of the food that we're giving them and the way we're helping them.
But how many are truly being helped with the enormous amount of supplies Wargo collects each year from one big benefactor?
It's hard to believe what actually went to who and who was actually helped.
Brianna Botsford worked at Daffy's for more than a year, eventually handling their social media and marketing campaigns. She took these pictures showing warehouses crammed with pallets of pet food, pet supplies, and other donations from Petco, one of the largest pet supply chains in the country. But instead of giving all the items to needy pet owners, Brianna says products often wound up for sale in Daffy's Lawrenceville store or left rotting in one of the warehouses.
Did you ever see food having to be thrown away?
Absolutely. And you would come across pallets of food that was just ruined because it had been sitting there for so long. And that's, it's just a shame because that's pallets of food that could have fed like 180 dogs or more.
Wargo says he fired Brianna. She says she quit in disgust with what she saw the charity doing or not doing.
How much food do you end up throwing out?
Not much. We try to get a lot of people to come in. Sometimes we just can't get them all to get rid of the food.
We saw more pallets of food stored in a second location. Wargo signed documents like this, promising not to sell any Petco items donated to Daffy's. Yet, look at this. Plenty of Petco products openly sold in the Daffy store.
Are you allowed to sell stuff that Petco gives you?
Yeah.
Petco says no. After we checked with the company, Petco stores in Metro Atlanta received this memo, ordering them to stop donating anything but food to Wargo, and that food should never be resold. Wargo told us later that despite the no resale document he signed, he was assured by local Petco managers he could resell. He's not anymore.
You're getting these things for free, but you're hoarding it to sell instead of actually giving the best that you can to these people in need.
Despite selling donated Petco products for years, Daffy's seemed to always have money problems, which meant constant online fundraisers. The most recent one, urgently asking for money to help avoid being evicted. But there's one fact in that plea that is difficult to understand.
According to their most recent GoFundMe page, the charity claimed it donates 80,000 pounds of supplies every month to help less fortunate pet owners. 80,000 pounds every month, that's 40 tons, or more than 1 ton of product every day of the year. Wargo promised to show us records backing up his claim. He never did. He later explained that number was from when the charity first started. Critics are unconvinced.
If he were giving away 40 tons of food, then you would have to work to find somebody that hadn't received some. There would be no need in the communities because the food would already be there.
Jen Wagner should know. Her Gwinnett Animal Rescue nonprofit spends much of its time helping needy families with spay-neuter and other pet challenges.
It's clear he's helped some people, right?
Sure, he may very well have, but with the volume of food that he receives, it should be a lot more.
How much food does Daffy's really give away? How much money does Wargo pay himself? You might be able to tell by looking at the charity's tax returns. But Daffy's has not filed one in 3 years.
I've had so many priorities, and yeah, that should have been one of them.
He says a new accountant will file for an extension before the May 15th deadline. But 2 former workers, including Brianna Botsford, have now filed official complaints with the IRS, accusing Wargo of using donated items for collecting personal income, which is not fully returning to the charity. And most of the time, the food and prescription products expire and become infested with insects and rodents. One calls his donation claims absurdly inflated. In his GoFundMe campaign to avoid eviction, Wargo asked for $10,000. People wound up donating $12,000.
It hurts my heart that people continue to trust him and give him money on the pretext that he is helping the community when he's not.
In Daffy's last tax return filed in 2014, Wargo said he paid himself a little more than $11,000 in that year. He says his personal tax records show a much higher amount recently because of a malfunction of the store's card reader system, and he says he's trying to get that fixed.
A lot of challenges. I'm wondering, if you haven't filed your tax returns, how are you able to maintain your tax-exempt status?
You got to have 3 years worth. I mean, if you wait 3 years, the IRS will take you off their list and, in essence, revoke your tax-exempt status. And that would hurt him in taking food and products from Petco because they get the tax write-off as well by donating it to a charity. Tom says that he is going to file for an extension May 15th and file that tax return this year and salvage his charitable status.
All right, but tons of food to be accounted for, it sounds like.
Tons.
All right, Randy,
Thanks, Randy.